were more people at Bolton Street Station in Bury that Sunday morning than there had been for a very long time. This was August 1963, but it wasn't the start of the Wakes, the town's annual holiday week. It was in fact a time for sadness. These were members of the Locomotive Club of Great Britain, and they had assembled to make one final journey along the old Holcombe Brook line, which was to close the following day. Passenger services had long gone, but to accommodate the party of enthusiasts, a variety of goods stock had been assembled in the sidings at nearby Castlecroft. The line was opened in 1882 with the support of local industrialists in the Woolfold and Tottington districts, and was extended to the village of Holcombe Brook, a distance of some 3.5 miles. Despite its short length, it was a difficult line to build, with 3 substantial viaducts and extensive embankments which created many problems during construction. It was run initially by the Lancashire and Yorkshire Railway, having taken control from the founding company, the Bury and Tottington District Railway. The branch left the main line just north of Bury Bolton Street Station, passing by extensive sidings behind Peel Mill and crossing the River Irwell to Woodhill and Brundleston, where halts had once served the local communities. These halts had been added to the line when steam rail motors were introduced in 1905 in answer to the new tramcar service to Tottington. Later, experiments with electric traction led the Lancashire and Yorkshire Railway to extend their Manchester to Bury electric service to Holcombe Brook in 1918. The Locomotive Club Special stopped on its journey at Woolfold, the largest station on the branch. It had extensive goods sidings which once served a concentration of industries in the area. There was a railway carriage and wagon works at Woolfold before the building of the railway. The electric stock using third rail side pickup was retained by the LMS after amalgamation. From Woolfold by Sunnywood Halt to Tottington, the line ran parallel to the Bury to Tottington electric tramway, operated by the local corporation until 1948. worn-out electric passenger stock struggled on until 1951, when the line returned to steam. But it was no longer well patronised, and a year later, passenger services were discontinued. Freight services continued, but from 1960 the line operated only as far as Tottington. And it was here, in the station sidings on a warm summer afternoon, on the 16th of August 1963, that the last passengers prepared for the last journey. In the years that followed closure, Tottington and Holcombe more than doubled their populations, and the 1990s brought the popular Metrolink tramway to the Bury-Manchester line. But by then the Holcombe branch had long passed into history. When the East Lancashire Railway had extended its line from Bury to Roppenstall in 1991, it turned its sights eastwards to Haywood and Castleton, restoring a link with the British Railway's main line. The line had been opened in 1848, survived until 1970, but the elegant road bridges at Bury Nosa Street Station were then infilled. Now it was necessary to dig them out again. Elsewhere it was business as usual, as Derek Foster steamed his Ginty just back from Llangollen, and his standard 4 locomotive double heading out of Bury's Bolton Street Station. The spring of 1992 saw the arrival of the Great Western 460 Odney Manor, also from Llangollen, and soon to become one of the most familiar locomotives on the line.
Gate lock. In a home.
Burwell Vale, a new station provided by Lancashire County Council, replaced the original at Ewood Bridge. At this time, Rottenstall Station was operating from a temporary booking office, originally used at Ramsbottom. A very big engine for the big engine weekend in March of 1992 was an ex-United States Army locomotive from the Worth Valley Railway. Popularly known as Big Jim, the 280 was built in Ohio in 1945. Later we see a dramatic performance of this locomotive, double-heading with a 9F of hers. Late on a wet afternoon at Ramsbottom Station, Battle of Britain Class 257 Squadron prepares to depart for Rottenstall. She arrived in October of 1992 and was to spend 11 months with the East Lancs. November saw the arrival from Didcot of the Great Western main liner, the Nunney Castle, just in time for the Great Western weekend. Barney Castle dates from 1934, but languished for 13 years in Barry scrapyard after being withdrawn from service in 1963. Awards were now beginning to flow into the East Lancs Railway. Rawtenstall received a first-class Heritage Award for its new station building, and the line took second place in the Ian Allen Independent Railway of the Year competition. February 1993 saw a month-long visit of the most famous locomotive of them all, the Flying Scotsman. The classic engine was designed by Nigel Gressler for the LNER East Coast route in the 1930s, but has been at the forefront of preservation since its retirement from mainline service. On her visit to the East Lancs, the old lady was tiring and was soon to be withdrawn for major overhaul. August brought yet more big names to Bury, attracted by the Steam Railway Festival in August of 1993. Another Great Western veteran, Burton Agnes Hall, steaming through Wood Hill. Here we see the LMS Jubilee 460 Bahamas passing at Burrs in British Railways green livery. At Summerseat, a Class 7 from the Midland Railway Centre passes with a rake of coaches in typical LMS livery. The Steam Festival was centred at the sheds just south of Bury Station, built by the original East Lancashire Railway in the 1840s and later extended by the Lancashire and Yorkshire Railways. For the younger generation, Thomas the Tank Engine provides fun rides at Castlecroft under the watchful eye of the Puck controller. Under the Thomas disguise is the veteran East Lancs loco Gothenburg, which has been prominent in the reopening of the line to Ramsbottom and Rawtenstall. Being put through its paces back at Buckley Wells is the Craven steam crane, restored by Roger Johnston. The crane is over 60 years old and in 1992 won the Steam Heritage Rail Award. It's proved a valuable workhorse of the East Length Restoration Scheme. The distinctive lines of the bullied Canadian Pacific preserved on the Great Central Railway.
The Black 5 just coming back off the main line. That's to be exchanged with the 8F. The Black 5, of course, a locomotive that came about due to William Stanley's time at Swindon. We got the idea of the Black 5 from the Hall. Heading now from Old Street Station for the train up to Ramsbottom and Robinson. And if you haven't ridden on the train yet, hop on back on the shuttle bus and have a go. Enjoy it. Yes, Fred Dibner's here as well, with his traction engine. Local lad.
Yeah, I'm not on the programme, I've come uninvited. It's quite nice to see all these mainline locomotives here, all in good order and steaming, you know. In fact, I didn't think it would be as good as what it is.
What did Fred to say of his own proud steam traction engine?
1910, and it took me 14 years and a divorce to do it up, you know. It's basically now a new one, you know. There's only really the castings original.
We're still able to sell. We don't get there's plenty to see and do, and we've been having another go at that competition.
The shuttle service took visitors along the line to Bury Station, where they could travel behind a choice of historic locomotives. A glimpse of a Great Western Pannier in London Transport livery, coupled with a Class 7 locomotive from the Midland Railway Centre. On the line, photographers grouped to witness the locomotives taking advantage of the 9 miles of track. At Burrs, a standard 8 from the Worth Valley Railway steams towards Somerset. Approaching Ramsbottom is an Ivat locomotive built in 1950 and resplendent, if unorthodox, in maroon livery. And another view of Southern Railway's Canadian Pacific on its second visit to the East Length, going through its paces at Ewood Bridge. Meanwhile, at Rottenstall, the Black 5, the only locomotive on the line facing south, prepares for the return journey to Ramsbottom.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
At Ramsbottom station, the southbound train awaits the arrival of the Ginty from Bury. In December of 1993, Ramsbottom station was to win the Railway Preservation Society's Ian Allen Award for the second time. At Burrs, photographers take up their position for another spectacular, the 460 Jubilee Bahamas, double-headed with colour pour from the Great Central Railway. it was well worth a couple of hours' wait to see it all again. The 1993 Festival of Steam ended with a reenactment of the last movement of British Railway steam on the 3rd of August 1968, when an 8F locomotive provided the banker of a diesel-hauled freight train from Copy Pit. But it was not the end. The East Lancs attracted more and more big engines. In May of 1994, the A4 Pacific Sir Nigel Gressley paid a visit to the line. His elder companion on the day was the East Lancs resident Black 5. Much work was now being done to restore the XBR loco shed at Buckley Wells in Bury, an original East Lancashire Railway building with parts dating back to 1846. The ambition is to make it the Northwest's leading railway museum. Big Engine Weekend in February of 1995 once again attracted the Sir Nigel Gressley to a wintry scene at Bury Bolton Street Station. With the weather much improved, the Gressley reached Wood Hill on its outward journey to Roppenstall. The intention was for the famous locomotive to be resident for some time on the East Lancs. The station at Stubbins still awaits restoration, yet who, even in its heyday, would have imagined such a distinguished locomotive steaming by its humble platforms? Another famous main liner making a return journey in 1995 was the Jubilee-class locomotive Bahamas, pulling out all the stops as it storms across the embankment at Burst. In 1995 found the East Lancashire Railway on the brink of great developments, not least the extension of the line eastward towards Castleton and the restoration of a mainline link. Popularity and a host of awards were proving that the East Lancs could now be numbered amongst the country's top railway preservation societies.